Safety first. On this video, I'm going to be replacing the rear pads and rotors for my 2016 Chevy Silverado. But first, I have to deal with an unwelcome visitor. This is the biggest spider I've seen in my garage so far. And I was putting my foot down close to him, trying to give you an idea how big he really is. You can see he's as big around as my foot. Watch that bug go up to him, and then all of a sudden, oh man, that's a big spider. So anyway, I got the bright idea of trying to get my tape measure out so I can get an actual size of this spider. And of course, when I put the tape measure down by it, it decided to run under the truck. Dude, the truck that I'm going to be replacing the brakes on. And any of you that know me know I do not like spiders, and I cringe at the sight of them. But I'm kind of learning, and the older I get, that they're important to have around. Anyway, this spider ended up behind the back wheel, and he kind of wedged himself under it. It looks like he's squished, but he's not. I'm going to move the truck forward here so I can try to get him outside the garage so I can work on the truck. So I got the bright idea of taking a cup and covering him with a cup. I then try to slide a piece of poster board underneath the cup, and I'm pushing down so hard on the cup I can't really get the poster board underneath of it. I don't want to take any chance of that spider getting loose. And I was also trying to be careful so I didn't hurt the spider. So I finally get the poster board under the cup, and I'm able to carry it outside far away from the garage, at which point I set it on the ground, tip the cup off, and you can see the spider's fine. He's not hurt at all or anything. And I can't believe I'm brave enough to reach down and touch that paper and flip him off of there, but anyway, I left him be and got one last final shot of him, and then head back into the garage to start on the truck. So the first thing I want to do is break the lug nuts loose. I had new tires put on the truck recently, and it's the first time I've had the lug nuts off since then, and they put them on pretty tight and intact, so I had to use a breaker bar to get them broke loose. The outside pad on the passenger side gouged into the disc and chewed it up pretty good. I discovered later that if I would have taken the caliper off of the mounting bracket first, the brake pads would slide right out from the outside. Instead, I fought them a little bit to get them off of this one, and then I learned how to do it correctly when I did the second one. But you can see how bad that pad's worn. It's clear down to the metal on the top half of it, and the bottom half there's just like a paper thin little bit of pad left on it. The back pad's still got about 1/8 of an inch on it. It wasn't worn quite as bad. And the same way on the other side of the outer pad was worn down almost to the metal. It wasn't too metal yet, so it didn't hurt the rotor, but the inner pad still had about 1/8 of an inch. I did the same thing here with these little pieces. If I would have taken the caliper off of that main bracket first, those would have just slid right out. I purchased the police pursuit pads They're a little bit softer than ceramic, and they don't squeak as bad, especially if you're just barely moving and you're just barely touching the brake just to kind of go slow. Ceramic pads sometimes will squeak really loud. So I like these a little bit better. They're softer. They're not quite as durable as ceramic, but they're a lot quieter. And then I got the Brake Best Select Pro rotors. They're not the most expensive ones they sell, but it's the second most expensive. And they're really nice. I was very impressed with them. They've got a coating on them, so you don't have to worry about them rusting. And you just put them on, wipe them down, put them on. And when you do the break-in period with the pads, the paint that's on the surface where the pads run, it's taken off, and you don't have to mess with it. So it looks pretty good. I think I definitely got my money's worth out of these old pads. These are the two bolts that I should have removed to separate the caliper from the main mounting bracket before I tried to remove the shoes and those anti-rattle brackets. The emergency brake shoes look really good. They look brand new on this truck. It's a 2016. What I found with vehicles with analog brakes, if you try to compress the piston and force the brake fluid back into the master cylinder, you'll get an ABS light warning on your dash, and you have to take it to the dealer to get it reset. What I found is if you hook a hose to it and put low pressure on the piston before you break the bleeder loose so you don't get any air in your system, and then open your bleeder valve while you're compressing the piston and force the oil out into a pan, you won't get that ABS light warning after you get everything finished. You want to go slow and easy when you're doing this because you don't want to force that fluid back into the master cylinder and through your proportioning valve and end up with an ABS warning light. And you want to tighten that bleeder screw down before you release the piston. You want to clean up and re-grease the caliper floating pins so that they work smoothly. You want to also clean out as much of the old grease as you can out of the mounting bracket. Be sure to push your pins all in so they snap back into the rubber seal that's on the face of that bracket so you don't get any dirt or water into your floating pins. when you're putting in the new pads, you want to pay attention to how the old ones came out. Even though they look the same, if you notice, the rivets on the back of the pads are different from the piston side to the stationary side of the caliper. So you want to be sure and match it up to your new pads. They might not look exactly the same, but they should be laid out roughly the same so that they don't interfere with the piston or the bracket on the caliper. I left the piston compressed with my tool while I was cleaning up the other parts, just so the piston wouldn't creep back out on its own. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I didn't want to take a chance. And so I'm removing it now so I can take a little bit of acetone and clean the mating surfaces where the pads are going to hit against the piston and the caliper bracket, because it's got this sticky backing on it. You have to peel the cover off of it, and then the sticky backing goes against the piston on one side and the brackets on the other side, and that just kind of helps hold the pads to the piston and the caliper so they don't sit there and rattle. You want to make sure your rubber brake line isn't twisted or kinked or under any kind of strain when you're putting this pad together. You want to make sure you've got that caliper turned in the same direction it was when you took it off so that you don't have any issues with it. Putting the bolts back in, I'm using a medium strength glue, Loctite. It's a gel formula. What I like about it is it stays where you put it. It doesn't run all over the place and get everywhere. Again, you want to make sure your rubber brake line isn't twisted or kinked or have any kind of bind at this point. Always remember to put your dust cap back on your bleeder screw. After running your vehicle for a few minutes, depress the brake pedal. The first couple times you pump it, it's going to go all the way to the floor, and then it'll build up pressure again. That's normal, but you should have a good brake after that. And there should be no warning lights on your dash. If you do have a warning light, then you'll probably have to take it to the dealer and get it reset. You want to top off your master cylinder using the recommended fluid. You always want to follow the manufacturer's recommended break-in procedure when doing new brakes. This is the break-in procedure that Raybestos recommended for the pads that I purchased for my vehicle. I just finished the recommended break-in procedure and the truck is stopping great. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and we'll see you on the next video.